Hello, welcome to my video. In this video, I'm going to be covering some of the necessary setup for making your own mutations and scripts in Left 4 Dead 2. So really quickly, I'm going to go over what we're going to be covering in the video. We're going to be downloading a file. First thing we're going to do is download a file off GitHub. It's the source code for how we're going to be scripting and coding in Left 4 Dead. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to set up the files, put them where they need to go, create all the folders we need to create. It's not that hard. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to be setting up the script file and the game mode file so that we can start coding in them. We're not going to actually be coding any mutations in this video. This is essentially just the setup. The last thing we're going to do is just test our code. We're going to launch Left 4 Dead, test it out. Just make sure everything's working. Make sure like we're not getting tons of errors. Just basic stuff like that. And this will hopefully set you up nicely for the next videos in the series, which will be getting into like the coding and like, you know, different cool things you can do in your mutations. But yeah, that should be about it. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed the video. All right, let's go. All right, so you're going to go to GitHub. I'm going to put a link in the description. And you're going to download, you're going to scroll down, and you're going to click this button. You're going to download the library. This is a Left 4 Dead 2 VScript code that allows you to code your mutation. It was created by Rayman and some others, prominent contributors in the community, Neil Rectus. Yeah, so you just click download right here. Once you click that, it's going to show up in your downloads. So this is what it should look like. And this is all the code. So this is all the code we're going to be coding in. This is like the background stuff. Grab all this junk and you can copy it. You can just grab it and drag it, but you need to get it somehow. And then you're going to navigate to your Left 4 Dead path. So mine's in my D drive. Yours is probably in your C, but, well, I don't know, wherever yours is. Normally, the way to get to Left 4 Dead 2, you go to Program Files 86, Steam, Steam Apps, Common, Left 4 Dead 2, Left 4 Dead. Mine is in a slightly different location. So we will both get there. Left 4 Dead 2 right here. So once you go into Left 4 Dead with the capitals, lowercase, you should look like, you should, if you got to the right place, you should be here. Okay. You're going to be spending a lot of time here. So I would maybe recommend making a shortcut to this spot. But anyway, you're going to put that file that you copied or that you downloaded. You're going to go into your scripts right here. You may not have a folder called VScripts. If you don't, make one. It's lowercase v scripts. Nothing fancy, no spaces, no capitals or anything. Paste that file in there. Okay. All right. Once it's in, you can delete the README. Needs a README. Okay. This is very important. This file right here. Don't delete this one. This is vscript.lib, vslib.nut. It is called a nut file, as you can see, because it uses the program, the coding language, Squirrel, which you can do research on your own time. This is where you're going to be making most of your scripts. To make a script, you're going to copy and paste this vslib.nut. You can't like right click and create a nut file, like new nut file. You can't, so you have to just copy this one. You're gonna edit it. I would recommend this program, Notepad++, but any Notepad program will work, like just general Notepad. But you can get, I'm gonna put a link to it as well, Notepad++, highly recommend it. It's just a nicer version of Notepad. Anyway, you're gonna change the name of your nut file to, we're just gonna call it test. This will be your first script. It'll just be a test. You're going to say edit with Notepad, or you just double click it to open it with your Notepad. And you can get rid of all this. Boop. Just get rid of all that. So what we're going to be doing is, for our very first script, we're just setting things up right now. We're just setting things up, but I'm just going over just the basics. Whenever you make a script, you're going to need this line. You're going to need this little line here. Include script, open parentheses, quote, VS, capitals, capital L, IB, VS lib, end quote, and then close parentheses, semicolon. What this line does is it essentially accesses this script and puts all this junk, this stuff, in your script, which, it's right here. So it's like you put this, and it gets all this, and then this, check this out, this stuff gets all this stuff. So you're basically just like, it's like a roundabout way to just say, include all the stuff. Include all my scripts, include all my junk. All right, you can close this. You don't ever really need to open this again. But what you want to do is whenever you make a new mutation, a new script, you're just going to copy one of these and then just write this line in. And then you can start. And then you can start going like, oh, yeah. All right, if that makes sense. Anyway, Control S, save that. Boom. There's something else you need, though. This part is just script part. That's where you write like what happens. Like, oh, whenever you jump, you explode or something. You write that all in here. But back over here in your modes, you don't have a modes. So you need a new folder called modes. No caps, nothing fancy. Don't get confused with models. It's modes. Okay. In modes, you are going to make a new text document. You're going to name it the same name you gave the other script. When you're scripting, I'm making scripts for mutations, whatever the name is here has to match the mode file. Because the mode file, what this is going to do, is this is like your settings for that script. It's really interesting. So what you're going to do, the syntax we use in the mode file is slightly different than when we actually start scripting. So don't stress about it. You're going to do quotes, the name of the file, so test. If your name of the file was like my cool mutation, if that was the name right here, you'd name it whatever that is, okay? But it's not. I would recommend not using spaces here. There's another spot to do that. So I would keep it really simple, no crazy characters, just for simplicity's sake. You're gonna use some brackets. You're gonna tab in. What we're gonna do is declare the game mode, which is we're gonna start with base here. Tab in a little bit. Doesn't really matter how many times. And you can say co-op, or you can say versus. You can also, I think, do survival and scavenge as well. I'm not 100% sure how all that works. I haven't tested that much. I'm not a genius, but I know that co-op works. So I'm going to start with co-op. Max players. These are all lowercase, by the way. Almost everything in here that's actually not true. Just these things are lowercase. No spaces. It should look very similar to mine. Quotes right there. Tab in. Max players can be, I think, 1, 4, or 8. I'm pretty sure. So we're going to do 4. Keep it simple. Classic Left 4 Dead. Tab down a few times, enter, or whatever you want to do. This is where we start adding the capitals. So display, capital D, capital T. And then this is the what it'll show when you actually get into the game, and it'll say, you know how when you're loading a map it says like starting, and then the survival, it'll say, that's where it says this. So if you say like starting, super cool game, that's where you can do spaces and caps and whatever you want. But I'm just gonna call it tests just for simplicity's sake. But you can write whatever you want in there. Okay, description with just a capital D. Like, like how it says like little descriptions, like a little really short sentence right after a mutation. This is where you'd say that. So you could say like, we're just gonna say testing 1 2 3. Keep it simple. Okay. Anyway, right here, image. You can have an image, a little thumbnail. we don't care about an image, so we're going to write this. If we did, we could refer to it like a VGUI file or something and put that here. But we're just going to do this. We're going to say image and we're going to say map/any. We're just leaving it default. That's essentially just saying default. I don't really know. Don't worry about it too much. That part doesn't matter. You can set a really cool image when you publish it, so don't worry about that. Author, this is you. You can put whatever you want. I'm going to write gamer. It really doesn't matter. You can write your real name. You can write your cool gamer name. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Don't stress about it. Okay, here's where we get really interesting. Move this up. It's really far down. Okay, here's where we get really interesting here. Ready? Convar. CONVAR. This is... Whoa. Why does it look stupid? Okay. This is where you set your really cool... What? This looks terrible. I'm so sorry. This is where you set your really, really cool, really interesting settings for your mutations. So I put a link in the description of just a few settings you can set in your mutation. We are going to try, just as a test, so you can see a change. We're going to get ammo SMG max right here. You can copy, and oh my god. Copy it, paste it in there, and all you need to do to get it to work is just say, you could do a space and just say the number you want. So Booleans, if it was like a true or false statement, like some of these, like allow all bot survivors, 0 or 1. 1 is true, 0 is false. For this one, we're doing a big number. This is how much ammo you start with. We're going to set it to the devil's number, 666. And then we'll know. We'll know if it worked or not. All right, so that looks good. And if you want to just add more convars, you just write them right here and then do a number, boo, and then you just start stacking them like that. This looks pretty good. I don't think you need anything else over here, anything crazy. Before you upload your level, obviously you can double check all this, all that's, or your mutation. All right, we're gonna save, Control S, close that. You got your little test thing right there. We're gonna go back to our scripts down here. These scripts are test.nut. So we're gonna edit with whatever. And down here, we're gonna do a really, really quick, simple script. Real simple. And then, in the future videos, we'll get crazy. Here's what we're going to write. We're going to write function. Notifications. This is like the event system or whatever. When certain things happen. We're going to say on spawn. So when someone spawns, make sure you're doing it exactly like this. You got a capital here. You got double colons. Yeah, colons. So this is built into the game on spawn. This next part, though, is the name of the function that you want to call it. So we're going to call it hello world. That's the name of our function. We're declaring a function right here. This is lowercase. This is capital. This is capital. This is capital. This can be whatever you want. Okay, then you're going to do open parentheses. Don't worry about the spaces. Doesn't matter. The first variable, it's going to get, the first parameter it's going to store is the player. What player just spawned? Then we're just going to pass params, which just stands for like extra parameters and stuff. Don't worry about it. It's not important. Then we're going to make brackets. Inside, we're going to say if the player is not equal to, this is some code lingo. Not is represented by exclamation point. Equal to would be represented like that. But not equal to looks like that. So if the player is not equal to, no. So essentially saying if the player exists. Why is it doing that? It's so annoying. Normally when you make little brackets, it just does them right under, like, whatever. If the player is not equal to null, utilities. So we're going to access utilities. Dot, which means we're going to go like, picture dot as like essentially an arrow that's saying like access this. Inside utilities, we're going to say to all, looks exactly like this. Capital S, capital T, capital A. Make sure it looks like that. open parentheses, and then the quotes, what we want to say, sup gamers, end quote, close parentheses, semicolon, to end your line. Whenever you declare anything, you do semicolons pretty much. All right. If your script looks like that, then you should be good. So I'm going to load it up. Load up your Left 4 Dead 2. And I'll see you in there. All right, once you're in, you could, if you really wanted, you can go through here, find your mutation. If everything worked out, it should be right here. There's the name. There's who it's by for 4 players. There's our description. All that stuff. Also, this is important. This is what I like to do. You can hit tilde or the console, and you will see if there's an error. If you did something wrong in the mode file, you'll see it here. It'll be a big red error, and it'll say like something's wrong. Blah, 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 blah. It'll say something's wrong. It'll be really big and red. Then everything should look. If everything looks like this, you should be okay. Hopefully, but don't stress about it too much. Here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna write map. You write the name of a map you want to join. We're gonna do sewers, I guess. I did C8M. If you can see that, I know it's really tiny. C8M3_sewers. That's just name of one of the maps campaigns. Then you hit space. You do map space, the name space, and then the name of your mutation. The name that you wrote in the name of the mode file and the name of the script file, not the display name. We named it test, and then you just hit enter. And if everything's working, it'll say joining a blank, the name of your game. And I really hope everything's working for you. Okay. If everything's working, you should see sup gamers. And that's awesome. And in the console, we see it. Sup gamers. There it was. You can even double check it. Sup gamers. 4 times. 1 for each survivor. 1, 2, 3, 4. Makes sense. Also, if we pick up an SMG, if everything worked, it should have ammo 666, and it does. It does. 50 in the clip, 666 max ammo. Pretty sweet. Pretty sweet. Hey, so hopefully everything worked out for you. If it didn't, don't panic. It's likely you just have an error somewhere. I'm going to just show you real quick how to debug them, what they might look like. So I went in and changed this. This was supposed to be capitalized. It's supposed to be capital utilities. I changed it to lowercase just so I'd get an error so you could see what it looked like. So if you had an error, you could you'd know because you wouldn't see sup gamers. Something's wrong. So to check if you have an error, you can hit escape or tilde, the tilde key, or basically access your console. And you should see big red text. That is an error. This is what they normally look like. Scroll up to the top where the first error message happened, and it should tell you an error has occurred. It actually says, what's really cool is it actually says the index utils does not exist because it's supposed to be capital, and we spelled it wrong. And what's even cooler is if you don't know where your error is or you don't know how to decipher whatever this is saying, it actually tells you what line it's on in the code. That's the one thing that's probably the nicest feature of Notepad++. It has numbers on the sides. You can actually tell what line, and it actually is line 9 where the error is, which is really cool, and that says it right there. So you can exit to main menu and then reopen your script and fix it. I would recommend just closing Left 4 Dead entirely. Just hit exit, enter. It'll close all Left 4 Dead. Fix your error. If you find it, Control S, save, and then just launch Left 4 Dead again. And hopefully everything's working for you. Hopefully everything works. But that's the gist of how you would debug any errors you might have. I really appreciate that you took the time to watch this video. I hope it helped you out. I hope I wasn't too annoying. I hope everything's working for you. If it's not, definitely write stuff in the comments, all that stuff. You know, leave your feedback. Tell me what I could do better, what I could do different, what you're getting stuck on, what you want to see in the future. We're gonna make more videos. All right, I'll hopefully see you in the future. Keep on keeping on, or whatever.